Ah, yes, Mrs. Jessica Fletcher, American. Jessica Fletcher. Possibly J.B. Fletcher, the mystery writer.
Yes.
Oh, I'm honored. Inspector Hugues Panassier, Paris Police. I have enjoyed with such great relish la demoiselle qui a dansé au bal et qui a été enterrée à l'aube.
La demoiselle qui... I'm sorry.
I give the free translation. The damsel who waltzed at the ball and was buried at dawn. That's not your book?
I call it The Corpse Danced at Midnight.
Oh.
Bonjour, mesdames and messieurs. My name is Sean.
Hi, Sean. I'm Steve. Wasn't expecting that.
And
Bonjour.
welcome to the next episode of what's this called? Oh, the Cabot Cove. I can't do it. It goes from French into like Transylvanian. The Cabot Cove Confab podcast.
Yeah, you a vampire? Like, what's going on here?
No, yes,
It suck your blood. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't tell Steve that I was going to do that. In which we watch a show that is primarily set in America, and we're on the 4th episode, and 3 out of the 4 episodes are not even set on American soil. I don't know what the chances are, but yeah.
No, most of them seem to take place in Europe somewhere. So, next episode, where are we going? Are we going to Italy? We might go to I don't know.
I know she
Romania?
went to Ireland.
Well, you're talking about Ireland, maybe Ireland, yeah.
Yeah. And
this takes place in Paris, France.
Yeah, fashionable way to die.
Everybody speaks English.
We'll get there. But let's do the pre-show banter. Pre-show banter theme song.
Wow. Might need to get a new one.
Okay. So you told me that you had something to share with the readers.
The readers, yes. So it's just bizarre. It's one of those weird dreams, and the reason I bring it up, I know that's the worst thing when someone at work says, I had this crazy dream. Let me tell you about it. You're like, dear God, no. I don't want to hear about your dumbass dream. So I'm going to share mine with you just because it had Angela Lansbury in it. So I had this dream that I was stuck on a boat for work, almost like you would if you were to go take a train to work. But the people I was working with, I found out through conversation that no one liked me. And... And so all the people at work didn't like me. So I turned to Angela Lansbury. I'm like, well, at least Angela Lansbury's my friend because we're sitting on the boat together. And she basically tells me she doesn't like me either. So I get up. I move to another... I know boats don't have like cars like a train does, but I move to another section of the boat. And guess what famous personality did say they liked me and shared some YouTube videos with me of their own personal...
Peter Falk.
No. Val Kilmer. Except he was young Val Kilmer. He wasn't the Val Kilmer today. He was like from Top Secret, Top Gun kind of Val Kilmer. Very young, very handsome. Yeah. And he had some YouTube videos, and he was like shoving his phone in my face, and he was sharing. We were having a good time together. Very strange dream. I don't know what that means. Angela Lansbury didn't want anything to do with me.
Didn't Val Kilmer? Isn't he on Hard Times? I know he had throat cancer because I have this. There's this movie I watched, Heat, that he's in. It's a really good movie, and on the extras they interviewed the cast, and he had he was doing that So I don't know if he got better, and I don't know if he's still acting or what, but.
I don't know. I think he's got that was it called tracheotomy? What's when you cut the hole in your throat? I think he had that done. I don't think you get over that, right?
I don't think so either.
But I also understood that
maybe he could
prime. He was not. You mean a Cyberman?
Yeah, or Cyberman.
But I understand just from reading things about him that his interactions with fans and other people when he was the star of a film, like the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau, he was a real douchebag to like the others, the extras and the people behind the camera. Apparently, he's not a very fun person to work with. He's got a bit of a reputation of being a prima donna.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Well, those days are behind you, Val. Can't do that anymore. Okay. I'm going to share something with you.
Okay.
If the readers would just bear with me for a moment. We've got some reviews. People, if you like the if you like the podcast, by all means, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and if you're in America, I'll get it and I'll read it out loud. I'm going to try to find a way to get the ones from overseas as well. Somebody left a review.
If you want to leave a review and analyze my dream, you can do that too.
Yeah. Just Scooby wrote, "Break out the dandelion wine." These guys really make me laugh. Love the Columbo podcast, and so far I'm loving this one just as much. Joyster110 said, "Cabot Cove Confab is awesome. I love the Columbo Confab podcast with Steve and Sean and was thrilled to see them launch this one. They always make me laugh. Steve and Sean are really funny. I love their witty banter, interesting trivia, and especially when they go off on their tangents. Great podcast. I can't wait to see them unpack Murder, She Wrote with its zany plot lines. In these crazy COVID times, it's so nice to have something funny to look forward to. Thank you for doing this, Steve and Sean. You're welcome." And I said, the title was, "I was way too happy." The username was like fix. It's just a random collection of letters. GDJJXIF. That's the username.
I thought you were having a spasm. Okay, very good.
That's yeah. Says I was the title is I was
watching porn. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus. This is a Murder, She Wrote podcast, sir. This is classy. Thank you. Okay. I was way too happy about this, is the title. And they say, "I just finished their Columbo podcast and was thrilled to find out this existed. Excellent work." Well, thank you very much. Please leave a review, because this is how we become rich and famous doing this. Is if you leave lots of reviews, and then eventually we become like My Favorite Murder, where we have a podcast network with like 8 other podcasts and real life advertisers, and we can buy a new house, and that's a real life thing. Or we publish a book.
Oh, really?
Actually, yeah, Murder. My Favorite Murder. They became fucking famous from a podcast. Or we could be like Jim Harold of Paranormal Podcast. Okay, I gotta tell you, that's one of the things. I gotta tell you.
I gotta tell you.
All right. Enough about all that. Let's talk about A Fashionable Way to Die. The worst episode. It's like every time they have.
Okay, so we know.
I'm serious. It's like we really need to make up a name for this that tells us in what world it's set in. So the corpse flew first class.
Are you the guy that doesn't like the French and he calls French fries freedom fries? Is that you?
No, that's stupid. That's fucking stupid. That they did that like after 9/11. Remember, there'd be these mom.
Bring it up. Yeah.
Oh, God damn.
I'll have a Whopper with a large freedom fry.
There's probably somebody who still says
an apple
that.
Pie.
If you order an apple pie with your McDonald's, you are truly a chub. I mean, I haven't had an apple pie in 30 years.
They're horrible. They're not fried anymore. They're baked, and they suck.
Really?
Yeah, they don't sell them. Like, when you and I were young, probably in the 90s, slim and had all our hair, they were fried, and they were absolutely delicious. But
yeah, I love them.
You should, next time you go to McDonald's, order one of their apple pies. It's baked now for health reasons, because you go to McDonald's for healthy food, and they taste horrible. I haven't had an apple pie from them in years.
Huh. Right now they've got pumpkin cream pie.
Really?
Anyway, yeah.
Like a drink or
no?
an actual
It's a
pie.
it's a little pie, like the apple pie, but it's pumpkin cream. Don't ask. I didn't order it. I was so ashamed. The other day, I was just fucking lazy. I didn't have any food to eat. I had McDonald's for breakfast and for lunch. I mean, because it's the closest thing to where I work. It's like the closest restaurant, other than this big fancy restaurant. And it's like easy. You can just drive through, obviously. I'm such a fat ass. I'm such a fucking fat ass.
Do you ever go through the drive-thru in your pajamas?
Yes. I used to do that quite often. I'd order a bunch of Taco Bell. Now it's more of a but I'd order a bunch of Taco Bell, bring it home, sit in front of the goddamn TV, and watch Game of Thrones and eat Taco Bell. Fucking fat ass. Like I'm a college student. I'm a grown ass man. Anyway, sorry everybody. We're not talking about a fashionable way to die. We're talking.
No, we're talking about. Yeah. Let's move on to.
We're going off on tangerines. Yeah,
tangerines, huh?
Yeah.
So, like you said, this does not take place in Cabot Cove, but in Paris, France. And we're introduced to a French businessman named Maxim. We see him flirting with a young woman named Kim at a lounge bar. We find out that her mother is the lounge singer, the lead talent there.
Valerie.
And, Valerie. And surprise, surprise, Maxim's side job, or I should say his lover, is Valerie. He seems to have keen eyes for her daughter, Kim.
Okay, I gotta ask you this. I actually looked it up. Do you know how many people in this are actually French?
I would assume the inspector is.
No.
He's not?
No.
He looks it.
I
mean, the French have a certain look to them. I know that sounds horrible. I'm not trying to be... It's kind of like Italians look a certain way, British look a certain way, French look a certain way. He looks very French. I mean, that was all fake, huh?
Yeah. There's only one French actor in this entire thing that I can tell. And that is... Let me guess.
Okay. Is it... Is it Lou? Lou Waters?
No.
It's one of the maids.
No. American. Both of them.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Who's the French actor?
The only French person, actual fucking French person in this show, is the inspector's assistant.
The detective.
Yeah, the detective. Okay,
that's
everybody
really,
else
he had
is
like
American
5 lines.
And Maxim's wife Claudia, she's Finnish. I thought she was French for sure because she had a very European look. But right off the bat, the first fucking person who says something in this is Kim, and she's speaking to Maxim, and her accent is so terrible. I mean, immediately I opened up IMDb and I said I have to see what she's in. Is she French? It turned out, and then that went down a rabbit hole into looking up all these people. And the guy who plays Maxim, no longer with us, by the way. His IMDb like profile photo is of him playing Abraham Lincoln in an old episode of Star Trek. That's how off the map this guy is.
Wait, the original Star Trek?
Old timey. Yeah, old timey Star Trek.
Wow.
Yeah,
old timey Star Trek.
Well, there's so many of them now. There's like 17 versions of Star Trek. If you wanted to do a podcast that would never end, that's it right there. Well, we know about that. We did a Doctor
There's probably 20 podcasts that talk about Star Trek too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm positive. Yeah. But yeah, this was not shot in France. This was all shot. I don't know if you could tell.
Just like the one that took place in England with Jessica's cousin. What was her name again? But that didn't take place in England either.
But the cafe...
As a matter of fact, there's a street shot. There's a street shot in that episode. The Sing a Song of Murder. There's this, when they go up to whatever her cousin's name is. She's hiding out in an apartment, and that's when like the heavies come in to kind of beat her up or to get her signature.
Mm-hmm.
There's a street scene in this episode that I thought was the same one. I don't know if it was, but it seemed like it was the same street but just redressed. It looked French.
Oh, yeah. I actually know what you're talking about. Yes. I think this may have been filmed. It looks like it was filmed at fucking Epcot or something. Because
Epcot?
You know how Epcot has those... You ever go to Epcot?
Never been. I mean, I know what it is.
Okay, well...
I've been to Disney Land. I haven't been to Disney World, where I think that's where Epcot is, right?
Yeah, that's where Epcot is, because they've got like 5 different things. Back when I was a kid, it was just Disney World and Epcot, okay? And I always wanted to go to Disney World. I didn't give a shit about Epcot. But when you get older, you start to appreciate these things, because now they've got... used to be MGM Studios, now it's something else. I don't know, it's just like movies and shit. And anyway, I digress. By the way, I don't think any episode that we've done of this podcast so far has had more digressing than this. Anyway, if you go to Epcot, half of it is like rides and shit.
Okay.
And then the other half is, I don't know what they call it, but if you walk through it, it's like different countries. Like there's one area that's France, one area that's China, one area that's
it's
England.
A small world or something like that? Oh, my God.
Kind of like that. And they have shops and restaurants in each of them. And all the people...
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, all the people that work in there, they all speak the language. They dress, you know. In fact, there's this one part that's like Morocco. And I think I first knew I was gay when I went there, and they had... I'm serious. They had
Your
2
poor
actors
mother.
in...
She's finding out about this right now, and she's like, this is where it started.
When we graduated high school, we were allowed to go off on a trip, so we went to Disney World, me and my high school friends. They had this couple in Morocco that were playing Jasmine and Aladdin from Disney's Aladdin. They were actual real-life people, not caught. Well, they were wearing...
Right.
The guy playing Aladdin was so hot. I think they were both so hot. That's when I knew I was gay. I think that was when... So what I'm saying is Disney World turned me gay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But you got to go to that... go down there to Orlando. We went there a couple years ago. We went to the Universal Studio. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love that place. They've got the scary rides that I don't go on. And then they've got those rides that are like, you know...
okay, back to Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, back to Murder, She Wrote.
So we also are introduced... We're introduced to Jessica's BFF, Ava.
There's one in every episode, it seems. Yeah, it's
almost like I've noticed there's a few things because I've watched a few episodes outside of this just to kind of get familiar with the program, and there's a few things that you always notice. Either she's got a relative or she's got a really good friend she's visiting. Mm-hmm. Never in Cabot Cove, by the way. And there's always a guy she's flirting with, like an older gentleman. She's always flirting with. What's the other thing that I noticed?
There's always her friend is arrested, or a husband of the friend is arrested.
So someone always recognizes her as an author.
Oh, yeah.
Except for no. I think even in the first episode, I watched the 2-parter first episode, and I think someone even recognized her there. But anyway,
really?
Yes, because she just wrote the book and she wanted a book tour, but whatever. So Eva, she's a clothes designer. I'm sure there's a more technical
fashion designer. Fashion designer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and she's getting ready for a fashion show.
Right.
And she was fortunate enough to hire Lou Waters, which is I guess a famous model. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she's a real model from the 80s. She looks like she could be. Oh, she is?
She is a real model.
Is Lou Waters her name?
I can tell you her name, but I can tell you I'm too lazy to look it up, and I didn't write it down. But yeah, she is a real model. I remember seeing that.
She looks like it. I mean, she's got those high cheeks, very, very attractive.
Good side boob, great side boob. She gives off great side boob.
We've got some amazing, yes. We're introduced to, speaking of your encounter at Disney World, we're introduced to her assistant, Peter.
Oh, man, this guy was guilty. I totally thought it was him the whole time, by the way. He was...
Really?
Yeah, he was the character, because they set it up, because Eva has a conversation with Maxim at the beginning where he tells her, you're going to sign a contract, I'm going to, take over 50% of your business. You owe me money.
Right.
So you know instantly. Number one, he's going to die. Number two, she didn't do it because it's too obvious. Like, she's the one with the big
she's
motive.
Jessica's friend.
Yeah, and she's Jessica's friend. And Peter overhears the conversation, and I immediately thought, Peter's the murderer. But no, he is not the murderer.
Well,
Spoiler.
That's not what I was hinting at. I was hinting that I think Peter may be of the gay persuasion.
Yes, I think he is in real life, too.
Oh, really? Well, it looked like he was wearing either a lot of lip balm or maybe lipstick.
It's called makeup, but, you know, when you are an actor in these things, whether you're male or female, they put makeup on you. But it was a little more, I mean, the Inspector Panacciese, how do you say his name? Inspector Panacciese? I don't know. I'm just going to call him the Inspector.
Inspector. Yeah, that'd be best. But he did have lipstick on.
He did. I'm sure he did. You have to have.
And he loved the French accent too. That's funny. Knowing he's an American, he really put on the show. Like
okay, we'll get to him, but he was the only one that I recognized here. The only actor that I recognized. The lady who plays Eva is. She was in a movie called It Came from Outer Space. Still alive. She's about 94, 95 years old. But I thought it was Peter because he was listening in on the what I call the setup conversation. It's kind of like at the beginning of Columbo when it's like, I'm going to expose you for the fraud you are. And it's like, dead. You're going to die. Don't tell people, that you have this stuff on them. And then you're going to die if you tell them. I'm going to expose you for the fraud you are. And just, keep it to yourself. And then we
found out Maxim has a lot of enemies, by the way. So there is a lot of people that want him dead in this episode. Yeah, so with Eva, it's, he wants 50% of her profits, and he's kind of, I'm sure there's a business term for this, but he kind of bullies himself into, or forcing himself onto her signing a contract that kind of gives away her rights or her ability to make money.
Right.
We learn that, he's probably screwing around with his lover's daughter, Kim, Valerie's daughter. Who else? We find out that the wife is possible. We find out. Well, you thought Peter. I never suspected Peter at all. To be quite honest, I know they kind of set that up.
Yeah, I thought it was Peter or Kim the daughter. I thought that Kim the daughter may have had something to do with it, but it turns out that she was there merely to move the script.
Yeah. I thought it made more sense that Eva would be the killer, but that was a red herring.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
So Eva goes to meet Jessica at the Jules Verne restaurant in the Eiffel Tower. What I love about this...
Is that still there, I wonder?
Yeah.
Because that looked like an actual location.
Yeah, it's still there. I've been there. I was there for a very short time. We went to Paris for a day when we were visiting primarily England. We took the train through the Channel, and what was really embarrassing, we got there in the morning, spent the whole day there, and then we had to catch the train to go back to London. But what was really sad was we were in a district in Paris called Montmartre, which is primarily where the Moulin Rouge was. And we ate at this restaurant. Cool. And the restaurant wasn't fancy or anything, but everybody was drinking wine. It wasn't a touristy spot, is what I'm saying. It was a local spot. And I felt really bad because we had to leave to catch our train, and they don't speak English, and the meal was very deliberately timed. Like, they bring out the appetizer, then you enjoy some wine if you want to buy wine, then they bring out the soup, and they brought up the main course, and it's like we're looking at the time, and I tried to explain to the manager or the lady that was working there that we had to get our bill and go, and she was just speaking to me in French. And I was so embarrassed because I felt like a stupid American. And anyway,
you know what I'm thinking of is National Lampoon's European Vacation, when Chevy Chase and his family go to like a French restaurant and he's trying to order, right? It his waiter and he's calling them names like you stupid fat.
I don't remember that.
And the guy in the back that's cooking the French cuisine is actually frozen dinners sticking in the oven.
I haven't seen that since it first came out at the theater. Anyway, what's fun about this, if you watch it, and I'm talking about Murder, She Wrote, by the way, the episode, the establishing shot that they're at the restaurant at the Eiffel Tower, we see somebody with an Angela Lansbury wig going up to the restaurant. There are these establishing exterior shots that are totally filmed in France. They just sent somebody with a camera and a lady with a wig to Paris to just film the establishing shots.
How fun is that? I would love that job.
When Eva pulls up...
I would think Angela Lansbury's like, this is a great... You know how, like, with John Nathan Turner would have on Doctor Who, he was a Doctor Who producer, for those that don't know, back in the 80s. And he would set up location or episodes that took place, like, what was one of them?
Amsterdam, Spain.
Seville, Spain. So, because he basically was a vacation for a month.
Yeah.
And everybody got to go, and he would plan it like that. Like, okay, this episode's going to take place in Paris, France.
That's right.
We all get to go. Did that for, what was that episode? But anyways.
City of Death. That's very interesting that in old-timey 1970s English TV, they were like, okay, pack up your bags, kids, we're going to Paris. And they fucking filmed in Paris. Of course, they filmed
I would
a lot,
think
probably.
Angela Lansbury would be like, I want to go to Paris. We'll do a couple exterior shots, and I'll spend the rest of the week or two, visiting and having a good time.
I imagine she probably brought it up, and they were like, no, Angela, you have to stay here, bitch. No, she probably didn't have time. There's an establishing shot of Eva coming out of a taxi and walking towards Jessica, and you can totally tell it's not Jessica. And then in a shot right before that, there's a lady who stops, and it looks like she's taking a drink from a flask. And I'm like, what the hell? But she's actually putting binoculars up to her face to look up at the Eiffel Tower. I thought that was hilarious. I got to make fun of it somehow.
I missed that completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jessica meets her friend Eva at the Jules Verne restaurant. I guess it was at the base of the tower to drink a bottle or two of wine.
More drinking. 4 episodes in a row. She's been drinking.
I know. You told me she wasn't. Whatever. So it's interesting because we find out Eva, is really strapped for cash. That's why she's kind of in with it with Maxim. But she's hesitant, because I think like an early conversation part or piece, Jessica's like, "Well, how things are going? You worked hard to get where you are, and if you ever need anything, let me know." And there's kind of a pause from Ava, where you think she's going to ask her for help, but she doesn't. I guess she respects that friendship too much to ask for money. I'm guessing
she's proud. She's got pride. She's not going to, So there's that hint, and Jessica's like, well, whatever it is, it can be worked out. Don't worry about it. So Eva...
That's what I like about Jessica. She's always so positive, and she's always so polite. Like, there's a scene where she's trying to get a button from Maxim's wife, or her... whatever. The widow.
Yeah, Claudia.
And she's like, Claudia. And she's like, can I please see the button? I mean... Claudia said, fuck no. This isn't any of your business. Go away, you stupid American. But no, she's always so can I please see this? Or can you please tell me that? Or she is such a nice woman.
Yeah, it's like, and it's almost, I remember when I was a kid and I used to watch this, I wanted her to be my grandma, even though she was much younger than my grandma. No, she's about the same age as my grandma, I think.
Probably in her 40s.
Yeah. She started the show when she was 55, I think. So she was almost
our
really?
age.
Which, okay. God. Yeah.
She's still alive. That's the most amazing part. And when you watch interviews of Angela Lansbury, admittedly they may be a year or two old now, but she's still on top of things. She's very smart.
Yeah, before COVID broke out, I remember she appeared on the stage. She's pretty awesome. She and Dick Van Dyke. I'll be so sad when they go.
And Betty White. Betty White's another one.
Yeah, Betty White. I don't think
Betty
White's... Yeah, I don't think she's as sharp as... I mean, you could tell the last thing that she did was she was on Saturday Night Live, and you could tell she was using cue cards, which is fine. A lot of guests on Saturday Night Live, some of the regulars on Saturday Night Live use cue cards, but she appeared at something where she was given a special award, and she seemed a little too feeble. I don't know. Yeah. But, yeah. So, Valerie's daughter is going to be a model in Eva's fashion show. And we have a bevy of models in bathrobes and whatnot, including Lou Winters. And the thing about the fashion show... Oh, and Jessica sits in the fashion show with Claudia, Maxim's wife, which I think is important for later on. And the thing about the fashion show is it looks like if you went back in time and went to my homecoming dance, and I'm talking about a homecoming dance in grammar school when I was in the 7th grade, not the high school homecoming dance, this fashion show looks like that. It is so... these dresses are so ugly. They're ugly.
Wow.
I thought, oh my God, it's so... And I can't help but wonder if in 1987, when they were showing this, if they were as ugly then as they are now. Just saying. I don't know.
And there's a key point where they kind of point out that there are 3 specific dresses that are important. There's a red, a white, and a blue. But in this case, because they're in France, it's the opposite order. But there's an important clue buried in those dresses.
Yeah.
And I know how you like clues.
Yeah, I love clues. So this is the thing, and you know what? Back when we did the Columbo podcast, whenever they would show a clue, I would call it Murder She Wrote-itis because they would make the clue way too obvious. And this is what I thought when I saw this. So what happens is the white dress comes out, the model in the white dress, and then the blue dress. The red dress comes out. That's Kim. She comes out and goes on the catwalk. Then the lady in the blue dress comes out, and the MC, it's supposed to be the white dress, but it's the blue dress. Then the white dress comes out, and the MC's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is Miss Taylor's blue sequin dress." And then like the white dress. "Oh, this is what's her name? Lou Waters."
Margot. Lou Waters and Margot got their dresses mixed.
Yeah. So that's got to be a clue, and it is a clue, but it's a red herring clue because the real clue that you're going to solve the murder with is right in front of your face the whole time, but you don't know it until the end, and we'll get there eventually. So
yeah, during this whole fashion show, Maxim, Oh, by the way, you do seem to notice that he's paying a lot of attention to Lou Waters. We don't know why. When I first watched this, I thought it was because that Ava is like paying her, I think it was like $10,000 to be in the show.
Yeah.
And he thought that was a bit much, but he's going to get that money back anyways. Spoilers. But yeah, so Maxim gets a call from Tokyo. So he's going to take that call in his room, and he goes up to his room for whatever this conversation is going to be. And that's when the murder happens.
Yeah.
Off camera, of course.
Right. What's interesting is if you're paying attention, the bellboy who comes down to tell Maxim about the phone call tells somebody else, "Hey, where is Mr. Maxim?" And that person says he's over there, and that person overhears this whole conversation that he's going to go up to his room 616 or whatever it is to take the phone call. So if you're paying attention, you might be able to figure it out. But I didn't, because I underestimated this whole thing, and I'm like, this is obviously is when he's going to get killed. So I can't remember.
Yeah, well, the show's a success. Everybody loves it except for Sean. They all think Ava's collection is just magnificent. She's going to get orders from all over the world, and she's going to be rich. But Ava then tells Jessica, "No, I'm not, because I just signed away 50% of my profits to that son of a bitch, Maxim." And Jessica's like, "Well, no. Look, I will finance. I will help you. We'll have the contract you signed with him annulled or whatever. You're a lawyer. Am I using the right terminology there?
Voided or yeah, there is a word for it, and I can't remember what it is. Voided or rescinded. Rescinded is probably the proper word.
Okay, so Jessica Ava decide they're going to go up to Maximum, tell him to go fuck off, and that Jessica's going to finance her now, which is very nice.
Yeah, that's great. So, if Maxim wasn't dead, I wonder how this conversation would have turned out.
Right? Oh, he would have no, I've got your signature, you're mine. But anyway, so they bump into the wife. They bump into the wife on the way up to the room, and they open the door, and Maxim's dead. He's on the ground. He's been shot.
And we have this great pre-commercial shot of Eva and Jessica going, and then cut to commercial.
Their O faces, yeah.
Oh, there's something I forgot to mention. There's a commercial on the DVD. My God. So, since this is the first episode of the 4th season, you've got all the commercials on it, before the menu comes up. And this is an old DVD. You can tell it was published, probably in, 1990s or something. And they've got commercials for other shows that Universal has released on DVD.
Wait. Do they put the commercials in with the episode? Or is it
No. They're in the beginning of the DVD. If you don't bother, there's one for
we don't want to give Universal any ideas, by the way. Please, let's not bring that up ever.
Well, that's fucking streaming. I mean, if you've got Hulu and you don't want to pay a lot of money, you've got to watch commercials. That's just the way it is. Or if you're going to watch a movie on Tubi, you're going to have to watch it with commercials.
Do not underestimate Universal's greed.
I
mean, they never paid the writers for Columbo. I mean, because they were so fucking cheap.
Yeah.
Anyways, go on.
I think the Levinson and Link. By the way, somebody tweeted at me, Ramona. It's Ramona, not Romana. Romana's a character in Doctor Who. She didn't like the fact that I said Williamson and Link instead of Levinson and Link. I was drunk. I know it's Levinson and Link. I just was drunk and I was talking quickly and all that. Anyway, I'm sure they made plenty of money with Murder, She Wrote, let alone Columbo. But where were we? Maxim's dead. Okay, he's been shot twice, once in the shoulder and once in the chest.
All right,
and that's
his wallet. His wallet's been taken, but nothing else.
Right, and his watch.
I thought his watch was still there. But there's plane tickets that were left behind that was going to where was it going to?
Somewhere in Italy. The Italian Riviera. Is there such a thing?
Riviera.
I don't know.
Yep. And also the contract still in his pocket.
Right.
So those are kind of important things to kind of take note of, that why those weren't taken. Because that kind of narrows down who the killer is. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we get to the inspector. Now the actor who plays the inspector is an actor named Fritz Weaver. Older actor, very very well established, but I recognize him from one thing only.
What's that?
And that is the excellent Stephen King film Creepshow. Have you seen this film?
Wait a minute, was he the husband that got attacked by that monkey creature?
Yep, that's him.
Oh, God.
That's him.
That's the most terrifying thing I ever saw as a kid. Oh my gosh, that was up there with the Twilight Zone movie with the gremlin on the plane.
Yeah, he's the professor. Yeah, he's the professor that, together with the janitor, discover the crate, and then he ends up going back to Hal Holbrook, and Hal Holbrook uses the monster to kill his wife, Adrienne Barbeau. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Fritz Weaver and Hal Holbrook. Yeah, they were best friends in that. Yeah. She's still with us. Fritz Weaver died a few years ago. Hal Holbrook just died less than a year ago, during COVID times. Not of COVID probably, but just from being old. Hal Holbrook had a very, very good career. Yeah, that's where I know him from. He's been in a lot of other things that I haven't seen, but that's the only thing that I've seen him in. And I think that's what people our age would know him from. So, yeah. But he really, really, and the Emmy goes to for worst French accent.
I wouldn't say that. I don't
really?
think that. Yeah.
Okay. I just think he was a kind of cartoony.
So he's doing yeah, it is kind of cartoony, but he's doing interviews. He's interviewing the wife, Ava, and he goes, J.B. Fletcher, the American. Huh. Wait, J.B. as in the author? And so he recognizes her. Obviously, it's required reading when you're a police officer in Europe, anywhere in Europe. You got to read Jessica's books.
Yeah, definitely.
All the inspectors, detectives that are in England, over international waters, France, so far, all have read her books.
Yeah. Nobody else knows her from Adam, except for those that have known her, from her private life. But by the way, that reminds me, worst French accent number 2, the hotel maid. She tells the inspector's assistant, oh God, it sounded like a champagne cork. She tells the police that she heard a shot, maybe a champagne cork, at about 10 to 10.
Right.
And so they kind of established that that's the time of the murder.
Yeah, and she also noticed, I don't know if she noticed or another guest in the hotel noticed, a white woman in a woman in a white dress wearing a large hat run past.
Yeah.
So we know the killer's female.
Yeah. And the woman was wearing a white coat with gray stripes and a hat, which happens to be the same coat that Eva has. I think it's Eva, not Ava. But, so we know that.
Eva.
It's Eva.
Also, the only Frenchman in this episode, the detective, he finds a photo. And it's a pornographic photo. Now, you're not able to see who it is. It's just kind of the lower half, which some might say that's the most interesting part of the photo.
Yeah.
So, but he's Maxim's carrying around, I guess, pornography.
Or as the inspector calls it, pornography.
Yeah. And he suspects this might be blackmail.
Right.
This murder has something to do with blackmail, which is kind of there. He's halfway right.
Right. Exactly. So, there's if you've got your little detective hat on, your little deerstalker hat, and you're paying really good attention to this episode, you may have figured out who the murderer should be or could be.
I did not figure it out at this point. No.
Yeah, I wasn't paying that. I was paying close attention to it, but really, if you because how do I say it? Oh, people have seen this. The first person that shot him, you should figure out who it is, but not the second person who shot him. That is like you're fucking Sherlock Holmes if you figure that out. And then this is kind of a spoiler, but I think people have watched this before they listen to the podcast. So, but
I would hope so.
Yes, what I love is the inspector looks at the photo. He won't show it to Jessica, but he says pornography, and they have a clip of this. Like when they have tonight on Murder She Wrote, and then they show several clips from the episode. That's what they showed of him. Pornography. Like ooh, ooh.
It's like all the people who kind of accidentally tuned in when they see that, they go, "Oh, I'm staying on for the next hour. I'm watching this."
For all the 14-year-old boys that just finished watching 60 Minutes, there's gonna be pornography. So yeah, and also he's got the hots for her, and he actually
As most of these, any older gentleman in any of these episodes to date that I watched, fancy themselves being with Jessica and maybe a champagne bottle and some lingerie, some chocolates.
I think the pilot episode.
Not real sure.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Well, when you get to a certain age, you can't get it up anymore, so you gotta utilize tools and accessories that are available.
This is a classic podcast, sir.
So I'm told.
Sir.
What?
In fact, isn't the premiere episode, The Murder of Sherlock Holmes, isn't she... Mm-hmm. There's a gentleman that she's actually sort of involved with in that one, isn't she?
Yes. Yeah, she is. Yeah, what's his name? I don't remember. Anyways, back to this one. So, yeah, the inspector kind of fancies himself that Jessica likes her, or likes him. And they go to go. That makes no flippin' sense. They go to interview Valerie because they kind of suspect that she's being kind of the lover that might be a lover's quarrel. And we discover that Valerie couldn't have done it because she was on stage singing at 10 o'clock until the stage manager Albert comes in and he fucks up her alibi. He basically, and I'm thinking, thanks Albert. What a moron. You think,
no.
Valerie's being interviewed by the police. Why does this guy screw it all up for her? What?
No, he gives her an alibi. Because if he was shot at 10 minutes to 10, Albert mentions that she was on stage until 10 o'clock.
Oh, I thought he was
when she got a phone call.
She wasn't there. Oh, okay.
I think he may have said that she was on stage until 10 o'clock when she got a phone call. I think he mentions the phone call, but I'm not sure. But he does say, you were on stage until 10 o'clock. So Valerie has an alibi. And Claudia... Go ahead.
No, Claudia, go on.
Claudia, the wife, in her ugly dress, is spotted by Jessica in the murder room picking up something. And we find out that it's a button. And it's a button that belongs to the jacket worn by the lady's jacket worn by the murderer, and that fell off of Eva's coat. Okay?
Right.
So, I mean, it's not Eva. If it's Eva, I'm shocked. Because first of all, she's Jessica's friend. Plus, all the clues point to Eva. It's very obvious that somebody is trying to frame her. Okay?
Well, and we also find out that the gun has been discovered. It was found, I guess, buried in one of the room service trays. And, I'm thinking of all the shit that I've put on those room service trays. I probably never put a gun.
Yeah, it was found down in the kitchen. So, did the murderer put it on a room service tray and then put it outside the room, or did the murderer bring it down to the kitchen? I think it was I think they put it on the room service tray. Actually, that makes more sense than the murderer going down to the kitchen and planting the gun there.
So one of the next scenes, we see Lou Waters. She's in a hurry. She's got to get going. She's a busy person, So she's asking Eva for her check because she, cash is a little tight right now. That's a clue, by the way. Mm-hmm. And she needs to be on her way. And that's when Jessica kind of confronts Eva, saying, "Hey, look, the police are, they have the button that obviously belongs to your jacket that is missing a button on the same sleeve or on one of your sleeves." And that's when the inspector shows up and arrests Eva for attempt or for murder, I guess, not attempted, but for murder.
And he thinks he's right, of course, but we're like, "No, you've got the wrong woman." And I can't remember what they do to get Eva out from behind bars.
Well, Jessica bumps into the maid because she finds out there's another clue that pops out that there's another maid, a different maid, heard another gunshot, or what they suspected a gunshot at 10 minutes after instead of 10 minutes before. So now we've got kind of a weird situation, and so Jessica's talking to the maids and finds out that one did hear 10 minutes prior and one heard 20 minutes after, which would leave, 20 minute difference, which doesn't make sense.
Half an hour, 20 minutes or half an hour. I can't remember which. But there's the scene where Jessica discovers that when the maid tells her, there's this shot at the beginning where one of the maids is pushing a cart full of laundry and she bangs it into the wall, and I'm like, aha, a clue. But it's actually. Okay. I thought like, oh wait, maybe the cart was banged, and it was just a cart. It wasn't a gunshot, and they kind of set it up for that, but that doesn't go anywhere. They don't.
Interesting.
It's a red herring. They don't go anywhere else with that.
But we do find out about missing towels.
Yeah, what was up with that?
So that's because the original, no, that's right. The second shot was a result of cleaning up using those towels.
Oh, okay. Okay, because Jessica kind of does a eureka face when the maids ask her where are the two missing towels. And by the way, is that a thing? Would they really notice that two towels are missing?
No,
I'm pretty sure.
So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can just take 2 towels from the Marriott, which is where I stay back when I used to travel, and nobody would even give a shit. I've stolen shit from them before. I've stolen hangers from the Marriott. Not regular
like
hangers.
Gilbert Godfrey, where you've got like a bucket full of soap and shampoo bottles.
Tom does that, and I'm so embarrassed by it. Like, I just think it's so like.
Why? Why would you? Who cares?
I don't know. It's like oh look, free soap, and like he'll wrap the soap up, but he's not like Gilbert Gottfried. He'll actually use it. He won't put it in a bag underneath the bed.
Yeah, so there's a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you are aware of it. What's the name of it? Gilbert Gottfried's podcast. What's the name of that one?
It's a longer name. I can't remember. I haven't heard it in a long time. But Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, which is excellent. Even if you I tell people, I tell people about this, and they're like, "Oh, I can't stand Gilbert Gottfried. I can't stand that guy." Trust me, he has a great podcast. He has a co-host who sort of tempers him and like is like the voice of sanity on the podcast. And they have great guests on it. Like I don't know, they had Tippi Hedren on in one episode. They've had like Rob Reiner on. Lots of great people. Fun. Dick Van Dyke was on at one time. That was actually one of my favorite episodes. He actually sang for Gilbert. They sang together, and Gilbert actually knows a lot. Anyway. While they were when they first made the podcast, somebody decided that they were going to make a documentary about Gilbert Gottfried, simply called Gilbert. And his wife is a fucking saint. I don't know how she puts up with this man, because
money.
As Gilbert himself has also said, I don't know why she fucked me twice so we could have kids, but they talk about how when he stays at these cheap-ass hotels... What?
Only twice.
Yeah. No, he actually said that on The Apprentice. He was giving
I know, but he has 2 kids, so she's only fucked him twice.
Yeah.
For the kids. Yeah.
He was on The Apprentice one time.
No other time. No, not to be intimate or husband and wife moment. Nothing, no.
He stays at cheap hotels when he travels, and the hotel people... he actually asks for extra toiletries, like shampoo and hand soap, and he brings it home with him, and he puts it in a bag, and his wife is showing... She pulls out this giant bag from underneath the bed, and it's got like... There was stuff from Pan Am in there, that he just hoards these hotel items. Yeah, that was pretty good. Pretty good documentary. Very good. Yeah. So, where were we? I'm so sorry.
So, Jessica goes and she talks to Peter, and she's kind of like looking at the dresses, and she remembers that there was a mix-up with the colors, right? The white and the blue mix-up. So she's looking at the dresses, and she's like, oh, there's no straps, no buttons, no hooks. Wow, is it possible that someone can get in and out of these things really fast? And I think Peter says something like, even I could easily get out of this dress in 5 seconds. I'm like, yeah, I wonder why you would say that. Like, he's probably done it. Like, I'm sure. Because he's the assistant. He's got to figure out if people can change out quickly, right? He's going out on the town in a dress and makeup. Yeah. He's wearing.
That's another episode. That's another episode of Murder, She Wrote, by the way, that actually happens. We'll get there. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, I know. Pushing Up Roses. Analysis of that one.
There's a great video on YouTube where somebody does an analysis of gay bars in the 70s on TV versus gay bars in the 80s.
Oh, maybe it was that. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, it was some guy. Yeah, Starsky
and Hutch.
Yeah. And Angela Lansbury. Yeah, that's what it was. I don't know if it was Pushing Up Roses, but yeah, it was that guy.
It wasn't. It was. Oh, I forgot to mention on the DVD. They have a commercial for Simon and Simon. I haven't thought about Simon and Simon in 35 fucking years. I just completely left my mind at some point. And there's a commercial for it on the DVD. And I didn't realize it, but the guy one of the Simons, they're brothers, and they solve crimes, Steve, but they're completely different. They're like Felix and Oscar. And one of them is played by the guy that played... Oh, God, what was that show in the 80s? He was Delta Burke's husband. He played like General Dad. Yeah, Major Dad. Yeah, it's that guy. Yeah, Major Dad. Wow. Mr. Peabody just turned back the dial on the Wayback Machine.
I haven't thought of that show in forever.
Yeah, or remember Coach with Craig T. Nelson? Yeah. shows that we used to watch that we haven't thought about in a long time. Okay,
anyway, so Jessica goes to the inspector with her newfound facts, and the inspector is kind of like he's thinking, "Oh yeah, well, mademoiselle, I'm like Sherlock Holmes, and you are my Watson." Did that come out clearly?
Yeah, that came out good. That was really good. I'm going to have some croissants. Croissants.
Would you like some French fries? The little French salad dressing.
And
there's a movie.
For breakfast, have some French toast. All these things are not French, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
No. There's a movie called Better Off Dead with John Cusack. And there's a scene where their neighbors are like fostering a French foreign exchange student. So John Cusack's mother, she wants to impress her. They invite him over for dinner, and she's going to prepare. In the movie, she's a horrible cook, right?
Yeah.
And she decides she's going to prepare a special French meal. Now, why would... I mean, it'd be like me going over to France and having hamburgers. Like, no, I want to try it. But anyways, that's besides.
But it's funny because it's not even French food. She gets French fries?
French toast? She made French fries with French bread. What else was there? French dressing and Perrier water.
Do you ever read The Onion?
Well, not in a long time, but I'm aware.
Yeah, there was an article in there one time where a lady wrote an editorial about how they had a Japanese exchange student, and he didn't seem very interested when she decided to. When the first day there, she took him out for sushi.
Well, I'm sure it's like. I mean, can you imagine eating American food in France? It's probably not even as good.
Oh, I have.
What?
I've been to McDonald's in France.
God, with you
I swear to God. We wanted breakfast, and we were on a cruise, and we went to Le Havre, which is actually not a very. It's more of like a fishing town, and no one was open except for McDonald's, and so we ended up having breakfast at McDonald's in France, and Tom had to use the restroom, and he had to go get the key from the lady, so it was very small. And the sausage overseas tastes different than it does here, because I've been to McDonald's in London. McDonald's in Hawaii actually has Spam on the menu for the morning, like Spam and rice and pineapple, which is just... I just love going to McDonald's in other countries.
I've noticed that regionally, just from traveling around this country, that McDonald's, at least in the airports, will have regional food.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool. It's like, what?
Yeah.
McDonald's, why don't you have this food in Austin? Why is it that everywhere I've lived my whole life, McDonald's just has the generic menu? And
you reminded me, in college, during the summer, I backpacked through England for a month. Mm-hmm. And I had pen pals with pen. I don't know if our audience remembers pen pals before the internet, right? Mm-hmm. But I would go visit them. I had a lot of pen pals. And so I would go spend a couple of days with each one and go visit them for a couple of days and nights, and then move on to the next one. And
that is awesome.
Yeah, it was a great time. But they all wanted to take me to go eat American food. Like, let's go KFC or let's go to McDonald's. I'm like, no, I don't want to eat that.
You want to be like, well, let's have a curry. You know. I mean, there's no English restaurants, really.
I want to eat a kebab. I don't want to eat a Big Mac. And so it was always... But admittedly, the British don't know how to cook anything.
Dear sir. I mean, what? I know it's not English cuisine. A full English breakfast is fantastic. I remember having that in England. We were in, East Ham? I can't remember. No, Barking. We were in Barking. Near where a friend of the show, Paul Heath, lives. And we went for breakfast in this cafeteria. It was like not cafeteria, but like, it was very informal. It was like you order from the sign, and then they bring you your food. But the weird thing is, there was like 2 or 3 old men in there, and they were like wearing like flannel 3-piece suits. And it's like they were just like these, old bachelors who would go out to have a proper breakfast and get all dressed up for it. And Tom, you know what Tom said? He said they look like Muppets.
Okay, that's pretty much what I'm imagining.
Yeah, and I'm like, yep, they sure do. They look like Statler and Waldorf. Which, you know what? We're pretty much the Statler and Waldorf of Murder, She Wrote now. Yeah.
So let's get back to the actual episode.
Yeah, let's get back to a fashionable way to die.
So Jessica suspects Lou Waters is the killer.
Uh-huh.
And she gives the inspector
Wait, I'm so sorry. Can we go back to something? I'm so sorry.
What?
The conversation with Peter, in which she discovers that the order that the dresses were going to come out was supposed to be red, white, and blue. Instead, it was red, blue, and white. And immediately I thought somebody mixed up the order of the dresses, and that person must be French because they thought of red, blue, and white, and not red, white, and blue. Because, okay, so like here in America, it's like 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue. We literally always say red, white, and blue. Well, in France, they have it, and they do the same thing, except it's the opposite. And I know this because Picard mentions it in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah.
Back to Star Trek? Okay.
Yeah, I just got to say that's how I learned that. I never knew that before. Because Picard, of course, is French. So, did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I just got to say one more thing about the DVD.
Does a commercial?
No, you know how when you go on the DVD,
Magna PI,
and you have to select your episode, and this and like 3 other episodes pop up, and there's like a little thumb tag, or what do you call it, thumbnail for each a picture for each one. Well, the 4th episode on the disc there was a picture of a dead nun at a desk, like she had been shot or something at her desk, and she's laying at her desk. You know what the name of the episode is?
None Too Happy.
Old Habits Die Hard.
Oh,
I wish we would have gotten that one. You gotta put you gotta put the nature, where and when the episode is, in the title of the episode. They probably hired somebody to do that for every episode. Well, it's about fashion. Fashionable Way to Die. Yes, Scott, Eureka, you've got it.
It was like that with Columbo. I mean,
That's true. Yeah. Murder by the Book. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other titles that, for whatever reason, I'm drawing a blank. But
Swan Song, Lovely but Lethal. Or my favorite, the Bye Bye Sky High IQ Murder Case.
Yeah, that one's pretty catchy.
Yeah.
That first Columbo episode.
Prescription Murder. That one's misleading. Because prescription murder, you think, oh, the murderer is a pharmacist. No, sir, no. The murderer is a psychiatrist.
Well, he's still a doctor. Okay, back to Murder, She Wrote.
Okay, all right.
So the inspector investigates Lou's bank accounts and notices that she's broke. That's interesting. And so they go to arrest Lou Waters, and they determine that. She confesses that she did shoot Maxim during the interrogation. And we found out that she shot Lou in the shoulder, which would make sense for the first shot.
Yeah, I got to go back.
Kill.
I got to go back. So she knew that Maxim was going to be in his hotel room because she was the one that the bellboy approached and said, "There's a call. Where's Maxim?" And she's like, "He's over there." And she overheard that he would be in his hotel room. So she gets. Oh, Eva's coat was probably hanging on a rack nearby.
Right.
I don't know where she got the gun from, but I don't understand the clue.
She got the gun from her own room. I guess she travels with a gun.
I don't know.
That was the only thing. But
so you get the idea. The inspector is going to nail her on it, but that this is not the real solution because she leaves the gun at the scene of the crime. And we know that he was shot twice. And we know that there was a gunshot heard at like 10 after 10 or 20 after 10 or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So she's not the real murderer. It can't be her, even though she did shoot him.
And her motive is that Maxim apparently got a hold of some dirty photographs. So that photographique photo was actually of her, I guess, doing a little side action.
Yeah.
And so he had been blackmailing her this whole time, which would mean that that's why her bank account was always empty. She was paying Maxim off over all these years. And she was traveling through Paris, and she didn't expect to run across Maximum, but I guess she thought this would be her opportunity to kind of solve that situation.
That is kind of a dated motive. I don't think that could be a real motive in a murder mystery set in 2021.
Well, not with Maxim would be Me Too to death at this point.
Yeah.
He's a real piece of work. Yeah,
because now in the advent of things like OnlyFans and everything else on the internet, people are proud to do porn. They're proud to do porn. They're proud to be sex workers.
So there was an episode of Schitt's Creek we were watching, and what's the wife's name?
Moira. Oh yes,
Moira. She finds out that there's pornographic pictures of her that are out on the internet, and she's trying to get Stevie to delete them off the internet. But she finds out that there's nothing out there, like nothing's ever been, and she gets mad because a person of her stature and her fame should have nude photographs of her out there.
Yeah.
And so she ends up, I think, giving the photos to Stevie to publish on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
who's your favorite character on Schitt's Creek?
Well, I like John, the father, played by John Levine. Not John Levine. Who am I thinking of? That's Doctor Who. Oh my god!
It's Ed Levine. It's something Levine. No, it's Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy. Christ. God.
Drunk, middle-aged men, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens.
Oh, I like him quite a bit. I like Moira. Yeah, she's funny. The way she pronounces things really throws me. Baby. Yeah.
Baby.
Hi. And her name even sounds... Yeah. Moira. It's not Myra. It's Moira.
It's Moira. Hi, I'm Moira Rose. If you enjoy fruit wines as much as I do, I love the way that she's my favorite. And you know what I found out? The first episode of that, I couldn't stand Chris Elliott. I thought he was the most annoying person. But then as you keep watching, you start to like Chris Elliott. Like he's the normal one, pretty much. I'm sorry.
His wife, whoever his wife is,
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, yeah.
Did you see the one where Jocelyn has the baby?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. Don't spoil it.
Okay.
Well, back to Murder, She Wrote. Man, we are all over the place tonight.
Yeah, we are really drunk, ladies and gentlemen. Or maybe I am. I don't know. Or maybe it's all the sleep I got today. Waking up at 3 o'clock.
But we do notice, or it's brought up that when Lou Waters shoots Maxim, there's a red purse on the couch.
Wait! I'm so sorry, Steve. I need a clarification on something. So the clue that the dresses were switched, the blue and white dresses were switched, it actually points to Lou because this is what I don't understand. The models were brought out consecutively, this is the red number, this is the white number, this is the blue number, within 3 minutes, 1 minute for each dress. But for some reason, it's a clue that Lou took the white dress off and put the Eva's coat on. That's a clue, and she did that. That's what I don't understand where that comes in. I'm confused by that. Can you explain that?
Slightly maybe because she didn't have time to be the blue, and so she took the white, or vice versa. I don't remember.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. But the real clue, and Jessica notices in the picture that was taken of the red, white, and blue models on the catwalk, is that each of them has a purse, except for Kim, the model in red. Right. And why is she missing a purse?
Right. And where's her purse?
If Lou killed him, she says she only shot once, and she dropped the gun. How did the gun get downstairs? And Lou didn't confess that she messed up the room, because the room was messed up as if somebody had searched it. By the way, if you're a character...
the missing towels, too.
Yeah, the missing towels, yes. If you're a character in the 70s or 80s and you're trying to make it look like a room has been burgled, it's key that you take the cushions off the sofa. If you ever noticed that in every episode of Columbo where they try to make it look like a burglary, they take the cushions off a chair or a sofa. That's what weird. Burglars apparently do. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not adding up to Jessica. And she actually says, "Well, Inspector, I think you've arrested the wrong woman again." And it turns out, go ahead, you take it from here, Steve. You're anxious to get finished with this. I can tell.
Well, no, it's fine. So, it seems like the inspector finally gets a date with Jessica, and they go to that lounge where Valerie is singing, sharing a nice cocktail, and but they're not there actually to listen to Valerie sing or for a date. It turns out they are going to charge her, or not charge her, but
arrest her.
That's what I'm looking for. Arrest her. For the murder, and I'm like, what? So as the story unfolds is that yes, that red purse was a major clue for Jessica, because when Lou Waters shot Maxim, she only shot him in the shoulder, so he calls his best friend, his lover, Valerie, and
because he can't call the police and tell them, hey, this lady I'm blackmailing just shot me. You can't do that.
So Valerie had just finished a set, so she takes a taxi, takes her 5 minutes to get to the hotel, and she sees Maxim. He's he's cleaning himself up with those towels, and she notices her daughter's purse and realizes this motherfucker's sleeping with my daughter. And so she gets enraged. She picks up the gun and then shoots him in the heart. And then she's the one that kind of messes up the hotel, takes the towels, the gun, whatever, the evidence. And the button. I will say this: the button was from Lou Waters, because that she was wearing that jacket at the time she shot, so that's why that clue was there. But yeah, it was actually Valerie who shot him and killed him. And I like after this is all kind of explained out for the audience. Valerie then gets up and goes back to singing instead of being carried away by the police. She goes back to
that's 70s 80s mystery. I mean, Columbo, whenever he arrests the murderer at the end, he should have like a whole bevy of policemen with him. Instead, it's always him walking, the murderer off screen sometimes, or just free shot and Robert Culp's eyes.
Right. What was the one where the oh God, why can't I think of his name? The singer,
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. That episode, like he goes up to arrest Johnny Cash in the middle of the woods.
Yeah,
by himself. And knowing Johnny Cash, I'm pretty sure Johnny Cash would have tried to kill him.
I think the real Johnny Cash would have, but Tommy Brown, he's like, "Aren't you afraid of being up here with a murderer?" And Columbo actually says, we shouldn't be talking about Columbo, but Columbo actually says, "Well, I think you're too good for that, sir, and I think you feel guilty."
Anybody with a voice like that can't be all that bad.
Oh yeah, that's right. He says that.
It's like, damn, Frank, come on, you're gonna get yourself murdered. I mean, not only did he kill his wife, he killed his young 15-year-old lover.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like, anybody that can win 2 Academy Awards can't really be like an attempted rapist. I'm thinking of Kevin Spacey specifically.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so it turns out that Jessica mentions that when they went to visit Valerie at the cafe, she had the purse there. The red purse was there, and Valerie says, "Oh no, it was my purse. You are so confused. It was my purse." Because one red. I'm trying. I'm trying to put some French flavor.
Everybody's a vampire in your world.
I do murder mystery parties at my home as well as professionally, and one time I had to play a German guy. I just couldn't get a German accent down, so I ended up sounding like that the whole time. Like I got it at first. No, how do you do a German accent?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's Schningen, Flogen, Flogen. I can't do it. I just ended up doing Transylvania the whole time.
You sound like a Muppet there. Okay.
Yeah,
You sound like the Swedish Chef. Yeah.
Have you ever seen it on YouTube? Go look at the Swedish Chef singing Popcorn.
Actually, I know that one. I've seen that. I've seen that a few times. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Murder, She
I'm
Wrote.
sorry. Yeah, well, it's done now. It's over.
So the inspector, they're kind of wrapping up the episode, and he and Jessica are at this kind of in the dark corner of this lounge,
with some ferns behind them to give it a little bit of French, whatever.
Yeah, and he takes a look at the check, and he says, and he asks her, it's 120 francs, and he goes, "Oh, well, you need to pay for half." And she kind of does a double take, and it's like, you cheap
freeze frame, and da 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 da. Yeah. Okay, that's it. The lady who played Valerie the murderer, by the way, is I didn't write down her name, but she is she has sung in many movies, most famously in many of the old Elvis Presley movies. She has since died, yeah, but she was in like Can, some other Elvis movies. So I think she really is singing in this episode.
Oh yeah, so she's very striking, and I don't mean that in a bad way. She's very, very good looking. She's definitely American. She's not even trying to fake a French accent in this, but she's very attractive, very striking. That's the only thing I think of her.
So I've been keeping notes. I've been keeping count, I should say, keeping score, I should say, of different statistics of what we've been seeing. So we've done 4 episodes, and there have been 4 different methods of murder. We've got 1 shooting, 1 poisoning, 1 hit and run, and 1 hanging. There has been only 1 female victim. However, there's been 3 male victims. We have 3 female murderers and 4 male murderers, but primarily female murderers. The last 3 that we did were female murderers. The first one was male murderers, but there were 3 of them. No, there were 4 of them. So yeah, that kind of outbalanced the rest of them. So yeah, I don't know why I'm keeping these statistics, but
that's weird. You're gonna get so overwhelmed by the time we finish this.
No, each time I end up an episode, I just put in like this one shooting and female murderer, male victim. I like these things. I like to keep track of these things. Like in real life, if there was going to be a murder in real life, it would probably be a shooting, right? Nobody poisons anybody in real life. You never see on the news so and so was poisoned, other than that like Russian diplomat that one time. Or what about when some North Korean lady was poisoned in the airport? Do you remember that?
No. She poisoned the stepbrother.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I remember that.
And she just went up to him and like stabbed him with a needle or something.
Well, no. I don't remember. I thought she wasn't aware she was doing what she was doing, but back to Murder, She Wrote. Before we get into. Okay, let's go and review this. I've got a number for you, Sean. Now, there's a lot of damn numbers in this episode, but I kind of like the ending of this quite a bit because it just being the Spectre being so damn cheap. So, what would you rate this? 1 out of 120 francs.
Oh,
which was the bill
wow!
That he
I thought you were going to go for 520 or whatever the number was of the dress. 120 francs. You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay, so I started out not liking this episode very much. I was laughing at the stupid French accents because they're truly terrible. The lady who plays Kim, raise her hand. Kim,
I didn't even notice. I guess that shows you my my stupidness because they sounded fine to me, but I don't know.
And Fritz Weaver, who plays the inspector, he does do a passable accent, but he's just so... He's obviously kind of having fun with it.
It's like listening to Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's doing like a cartoonish Frenchman, whereas Kim, she has to play it solid. She has to play it straight, so her accent just comes off as really bad. But she doesn't have that many lines. So if you put all that aside, and then I was kind of making fun of, and then I was like, okay, the stupid obvious clue with the dresses getting mixed up. I'm like, oh please, it's gonna be Lou or it's going to be Kim. I thought it was Kim or Peter actually as soon as I saw them on screen. But it turned out that it was a pretty damn good mystery. In fact, I think this might be the best mystery so far. I really like the last one.
Really?
I can't. It's not fair to compare them to each other. You have to, judge them on their own merit alone. But as a mystery, and the fact that you are actually able to solve it, and it tricks you into coming to the conclusion that Lou did it, just like the inspector comes to. But if you actually pay attention and you go back and look at it, you'll notice that Kim's the only one without a purse. Why? And you'll notice that Valerie has the purse in her room. And I totally underestimated this episode, and it really impressed me at the end. Because what I thought before of Murder, She Wrote is that they would, Valerie has the purse in the room, there'd be a close-up of her handling the purse, and you'd be like, ha-ha, that's a clue, and she must be the murderer. But no, they didn't do this. They showed us, but they didn't focus on it and bring our attention to it, and I really like that. And I really like mysteries that do that. So I'm going to give this I'm so sorry. Did you say 250 francs?
120.
120. I'm so sorry. I'm going to give this a strong score. I'm going to give this 109.
Oh,
and I'm not taking off points because of bad French accents. That's just stuff like if we watch classic Doctor Who, that's like making fun of the special effects. You got to go with it. I can't judge it on that.
Wait, what did you give it again?
109. I really like this, and I didn't like it until the end, when I realized that this was a whole visual puzzle that you could put together. But you didn't. You were being fed misinformation the whole time. That it seemed too obvious of who the murderer was. I still thought it was Peter or Kim. I never thought it was Lou. I thought Lou was a red herring. But if you go back and watch it again, you can see how a person who's paying attention can come to the conclusion that it was Lou. But in fact, if you could focus on that thing with the purses, it was actually Valerie. And actually, when Valerie turned out to have an alibi for the shooting at 10 to 10, that should have been a red flag right there. Like, the person with the alibi is always the murderer. And, and the wife, actually, who was literally sitting with Jessica at the fashion show at the time of the murder, that raised a red flag too.
Well, and she didn't seem to really care. Like, oh, my husband's dead. Okay, I'm going to go to another room. I'm just going to...
Yeah.
But you find out... She finds out... You do find out that she's aware of Valerie and that her husband's a perv, and, so she's kind of living with him, I guess, for his money.
I wouldn't call him a perv. I would just call him a man, but whatever.
All right. Okay, 109. That's higher than I expected, especially after what you said at the very beginning of recording tonight. So I agree with you. I like that a lot of the stuff that it could be solved if you're paying attention. I liked at the end that Jessica kind of, while she explains things, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Why is the red person in that room? And I like that there's one person, Lou Waters, who thinks she's the killer. Turns out she's just a horrible shot, and so you got kind of that misdirect, right? You're leading up to the one killer, and there's actually two people. Now you would think Lou Waters doesn't get off free. That was attempted murder, so she's still got to face her time. I would suspect, but it was an enjoyable episode. Got side boob.
Good side boob, like unexpectedly good side boob. Like, whoa, side boob, and it's good. It's on Murder, She Wrote. Holy cow.
I don't know if I would say it's my favorite episode to date that I've seen. So I'm not going to rate it as high as you did. So out of 120, I'm going to give it 85. I think that's a good solid number. It's a good episode. It's a good episode. I just don't know. It's kind of one of those moments like, would I watch this again? I don't think I would.
Did you watch it once or twice for this?
Twice. I try to watch it twice. One for this kind of to embrace it, and then the second one to dissect it.
And before we did this podcast, I would have bet anything that by the time we did 4 episodes, there would have been one that we just didn't like at all. Okay? And I think out of the 4, the weakest is probably the second one that we did, which is Sing a Song of Murder. Just because it's kind of hokey and like whatever. But I think for the most part, they've been really solid. And I'm impressed. And I can see now why the show went on for 12 seasons. Now, I do have one small problem. one small problem. One little plot hole in this. So Lou shoots him in the shoulder. And then 20 minutes, half an hour later, he's actually killed when Valerie shoots him in the chest, presumably through the heart.
Right.
Now, if he was shot in the shoulder, he would have bled a lot in those 20 or 30 minutes. But they made it look as if almost he was shot simultaneously. I mean, there would have been blood up and down his arm. There would have been blood somewhere else in the room. I mean, he used 2 towels to, clean himself up. But, there would have been... Because you just don't... I mean, I've seen Reservoir Dogs. I know that if you're shot somewhere in a non-fatal place, you're going to bleed out and eventually probably die. So, I don't know. That kind of doesn't make sense from a forensic point of view.
Would it depend on the caliber of the bullet?
I have no fucking idea. It's sad that I don't know that, and we live in Texas.
Okay. Yeah! All right. So, I'm ready to spin the wheel for next episode.
Okay, Steve. Before you spring the wheel, let me put my glasses on, and let me call the cats to bring the wheel in. Cats, come on in. And don't spin the wheel yet, Steve. Okay. Hold on, Steve. Spin the wheel now.
I spun it really hard that time. So
you
spun it. It should be going still. I mean, I put a lot of effort into this, so
yeah, that was what I call a Ron Jeremy spin. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to say. I won't say poor Ron Jeremy, but no, fuck that guy. Fuck him. So we did
that is so gross. I cannot imagine watching a porno with him. Oh my god. I would probably gouge my eyeballs out if I saw him naked. Oh.
Well, everybody has seen Ron Jeremy naked.
I haven't. I don't think so.
Anybody who has found their father's porn stash in the 80s has seen Ron Jeremy.
Oh, God, I cannot imagine. Oh, God, he's so gross.
You have never really seen Ron Jeremy naked? Seriously?
I do not. And I that's not even anything I would Google. I mean, I'm sure if I were to type in his name, I'm sure I would see something. No way.
I thought that everybody our age would have seen something with Ron Jeremy.
Maybe. The only thing I've seen Ron Jeremy in was the original Ghostbusters.
What? Where? Oh, he was on the street, wasn't he? He was like, yeah.
Yeah, he was a bypasser. Yeah.
Huh. So, yeah, it turns out that you can fuck, as many women as you want on film, but, that's not enough, apparently. He was just playing out... this is not the Ron Jeremy podcast. I did see a really good documentary about him many years ago. That he's actually really smart. He has, like, a degree in special ed.
Why are we talking about Ron Jeremy? God.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, those that are listening to a Murder, She Wrote podcast, did you expect that this would degrade into Ron Jeremy?
No. It's just... You know what? I bet you Ron Jeremy...
I'm pouring myself another drink.
I bet you Ron Jeremy... It was on Murder, She Wrote at one time or another. Just a walk-on role. Just being like, hi, how are you? Or something. Because that guy found his way into everything. Okay.
Literally.
Yeah. So, we are going to be doing... Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so we did the first episode of Season 4. Well, for Season 5, we're doing the last episode, which is a two-parter. So we have to do a little bit more homework. I don't care.
All right.
It's like, it's better than watching, like, Jupiter Ascending or...
Oh, God.
Fourth
Okay,
Kind. We're going to be watching something called Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. And that is at the end of Season 5, and that's a two-parter. And unlike this one, I don't know what is that about? Is that about...
Mirrors? Yeah.
Mirrors? Could it be, like, magic?
Maybe.
So, yeah. All right. I love that there's also... some of these... I love some of the titles. I'm looking at the spreadsheet here. Coal Miner's Slaughter, because there was Coal Miner's Daughter. Have you ever seen that movie? Coal Miner's Daughter?
No.
There's one called Something Borrowed, Someone Blue. I bet you there was a murder at a wedding. And then here's my favorite. This has got to be tongue-in-cheek. Prediction, murder. Like prescription, murder. Do you think they did that on purpose? Or how about this? The one right before that is called 3 Strikes, You're Out. Do you think... I think that one is about attorneys. Yeah, there's attorneys in that one. All right. Well, Stephen, I think we're done with this.
Okay.
I think
I was just thinking, if it's with a magician, would it be the great Santini? That would be great.
Oh, yeah.
Have Jack Cassidy on. Does Jack Cassidy ever... When did he die? What year?
He died... I don't know. Fucking people would want to go to their next podcast and let us finish this off so they can listen to, I don't know,
NPR,
This American Life or whatever. Yeah. Or Jim Harold or whatever.
Jim Harold. The Gilbert Godfrey podcast.
I want to have Jim Harold and Gilbert Godfrey on the podcast. Shut up, Sean. Okay, Steve, say goodnight.
Good night, everyone.
Manana. Good night. Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.